speed, Micah. It looks good so far. Okay, one done.
It's here.
When the weight feels heavy and the road is long, you've been holding on, trying to stay strong. Doctors and paperwork, so much to face, but here you found a safer place.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us live today. So welcome. Even if you're watching us on the replay, thank you so much for being here with us. So guys, feel free to say hello in the chat and let us know where you're joining from. And if you have any questions that would come up while we are talking, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We will be answering questions live during the Q&A portion. And to those of you who wanted to join us live here in the Zoom room, we will also be posting a link for you to join us later. So watch out for that. And for those who may be new here, my name is Nadine and I'm with the Disability Digest, 100% free resource dedicated to helping people get, keep, and maximize their Social Security disability benefits. And of course, here with us today, Mr. Brian Tarian, our very own CEO and founder of the Disability Digest. And Brian has helped thousands of individuals better understand the disability process and what it really takes to get approved. And of course, we are also joined by Philip Price, who leads one of the most supportive Facebook communities for people navigating the disability
Good
process.
morning, everybody.
For being here with us today,
right.
everyone. And at this point, I'm going to turn things over to Brian to get us started. Brian, the floor
Hey,
is yours.
great. Thank you, Nadine. Good to be with you. And Philip, great to have you back. So yes, everybody, look forward to today's live. Our strategy here is to provide you with a resource that you can use to help you get and keep your disability benefits. And what we're going to cover today is really something that will give you the slight edge, in my opinion, of doing this work and helping people that are sick or injured for almost 2 decades now. There's definitely some challenges and gaps that people have when they're trying to get through the system and stay in the system. So that's what we're going to do. And Nadine mentioned you can come on in and actually join the conversation today. A link will be put in the YouTube, Facebook chat. Folks out there on TikTok, you'll have to come on over here to get the link. If I knew how to put it in TikTok, I'd do it. I haven't got it all figured out yet. So that's it. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is getting some support through the process. And here's what I see from my perspective. Somebody develops a sickness or an injury and they look for their different avenues in which they're going to go, and they're like, I cannot work. It's important for me to get some stability in my life, and they pursue the disability process. And most people do not have a hobby of studying the disability process, so they come here knowing very little. What they do know is they need some help to stabilize their financial situation and their health care. But the process of doing that, there's some components of advocacy and technology that are often not taken into consideration that catch people off guard. So I'm going to share with you some tips. Since October 14th of 2025, I, as part of my role here, is to go into the department where we work directly with individuals to help them as their representative get their disability benefits approved. And what I've seen in there, the gaps, challenges, and struggles are in large part what I'm going to share with you today and strategies to fill that gap, right? So here, here's a few things to consider if you don't already know. Most people that enter into the state of need for their disability benefits are fatigued. They're not feeling well. They commonly have cognitive issues, emotional strain, financial pressures. The list goes on and on and on. It shows a bunch of them. And then you're presented with this situation where you need to navigate the system. And we've done what we feel a solid job. Of course, I'm a little biased. At the Disability Digest, you have a membership that you can join us if you haven't already, no charge. Once you're into the membership, you get access to wonderful people here that are advocates. If you are one of those, raise your hands. That's you, Nadine and Philip. That's your cue. Raise your hand. Okay. All right. Glad you're with us today. And then they'll assess your situation and put you into resources, which could be likely a course that you can use on your own if you're going through the disability approval process to help you understand what to say and do. You can use that course to represent yourself. You can use it in conjunction with another representative, which could be us or somebody else. But the key is you got to use the course. And that's one of our efforts to make it easier. You have somebody to talk to and the directions to do. But that doesn't solve all of the problems because there's a technology barrier that's there for people. Social Security doesn't communicate with you directly via email. But if you're going to use a disability... If you're into the membership, you get access to... Oh, I'm getting some feedback. Thank you, Philip. If you're going to use a disability representative or some other type of support, it's common that you're going to communicate via email. So having some email competency would definitely be beneficial for you. Then there is the movement of your evidence. And this is a big one because regardless how you pursue your benefits or if you're on them and you're subject to a continuing disability review, your evidence is your income. As good as your evidence is and you can manage it, is going to determine your income. You can have whoever you want on your team, but if you don't have good evidence, you're not going anywhere. Just my experience from doing this for a long, long time. So when you have evidence, that means you've got to take it out of your doctor's patient portal or get the actual medical records or collect reports from your doctors because you're really the only one with that doctor relationship. And you've got to manage those and get them into Social Security, ideally in a PDF format because that's the format that they most desire. So if you don't know how to get documents, convert documents, put them into a PDF format, put them up to Social Security's file center, that's going to be a challenge for you, right? So you can work with a representative to plug that hole, but you still need to have the original execution to get that information into a PDF. I'm not saying this, folks, to like intimidate you. It's just the reality of the process right now and what we're in so that you know and what you're doing. And oftentimes people become annoyed. They don't have that skill set in place, so they don't do it. And the result of not having the right evidence, no benefits, typically, unless you have some exceptional situation. So where I'm going with all of this is it's really helpful to have somebody that is on your team as you go through this process. Could be a spouse, another family member. If you don't have any of those or anybody supporting you, you can contact your local Center for Independent Living, see if they have available advocacy or any openings for it, because that's part of the work that they do. But to have somebody that can help you with, first of all, the technology piece, if you need it, right? Then the next piece is that everybody should have this, which is an advocate that's going to work with you for definitely certain appointments that you have. Doctor's appointments are really critical because previously I mentioned your evidence is your income. I just made that one up today. I think that's pretty good. Um, and if you go into your doctor's appointment and you have another set of ears there to help you out, first of all, with your current state that I outlined at the top, it's going to allow you to hear things that you may have missed. And one of the most important aspects of doctoring is communicating your limitations. So if you have somebody with you that makes sure that you communicate them properly, they understand your case theory, what you need to prove to get approved, and how you should communicate to your doctor and are there with you, that just brings it up a whole other level. I mean, if you just looked at it this way, if you just did everything right at the initial application and got somebody to help you, and it so much maximizes your chances of getting approved in like 8 or 9 months at the initial level, rather than having it a long, drawn out, expensive situation because you end up going to a hearing and paying full fee for somebody to represent you in court. What full fee is $9,200 out of your back pay. So I encourage people to do all the work up front so that you can minimize that. Another one is completing forms. So you may be able to complete the forms properly, but then you need to get the forms back to Social Security or to your representative to review so that they can make sure that everything is in line with the questions. So we've covered the technology piece, the doctoring piece, the forms piece. These are three areas. And then emotional support. I, I haven't, unfortunately, I don't know what it's like for people to go through this process. I could say I do, but I don't. There's no way I could put myself in somebody else's shoes and what you experience. But I can just imagine that if you had support through the process, somebody that would encourage you and help you out and give you some confidence, that it would make things a lot easier for you. So that's another thing to take into mind. So, one of the barriers that I have faced in presenting this to people is that, well, I don't know of anybody. And if you're single going through this and it's the burden of asking your kids, I don't want to bother my kids. Well, I get it. I understand. People don't like to ask for help. I've been a victim of this in several areas of my life. But I just encourage you to do the risk reward. Most kids, for example, they're going to want what's best for you. And if this is the avenue that you need to go, if it's presented properly, fine. Have them come out here and listen to this replay. Actually, it's one thing you can do, send them this. Say, listen, I need your help. Would you listen to this guy and see if you can help me out through the process? The replay is available. It's the same link that you came to join here, so you can use this as a resource. All right, so I think the independence piece of this is what I strongly want to discourage you to do is get a team, get some love around you that can help you through the process, help you get through this emotionally better, help you get through this faster. And if presented the right way, I expect it would work. So those are my reflections on this. And if you're out there and you are somewhere in this and this like connects with you, maybe you have somebody that's helping you, who would that be? We also would like to know where you're participating from. Or if you've tried to get somebody and you've met some resistance, maybe there's something we could learn from that as well. So before we get into some FAQ, I know Nadine is going to put the link out there for you. You can click on it, come on in and talk to us. Um, you asked everybody where we're participating from, and I am right now in Shelburne, Vermont. This is where I have, in this area, lived and worked and been a bunch of
We
places around the world, but
we have a
love it
dyer
here.
from Vermont.
Pardon
Says
me?
here from we have Patty Dyer from Vermont. She is
What?
watching. And we also have Aris from Pennsylvania.
All right.
Hi
Shout
guys.
out to a fellow Vermonter. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so I have dropped the link for those of you who wants to join us here in the meeting and ask your questions.
Yep.
And also be, if you are camera shy, you can go ahead and drop your questions in the comments and we will answer them for you.
Absolutely.
And I think we also have some questions from Philip's Facebook group. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Let's
we
start
can
there.
start. Oops, you're
You're giving
muted,
us the
Philip.
silent treatment, Philip.
There we go.
There you go.
Clearing my throat so I can get my singing voice going.
Oh, yes, folks, you're gonna love this.
Uh-huh. Afraid not. Not today. All right. First one comes from
Actually, Philip, sorry to interrupt you, but next time we do this, we will be singing because it will be Attorney James Mitchell Brown here 2 days after his 80th birthday.
all right. Singing happy birthday. Okay, first one says I applied for SSDI last year. I've been stuck at step 2 in the portal since October. I finally moved to step 3, but it says something like, we need more information. I got a function report in the mail, and my mom got something in the mail as well, asking her questions about my disability. How much she helps, etc. How much she helps me, etc. Has anyone ever had to fill out one of these functions while waiting for their case before? Or has anyone had friends and family members receive a report to fill out from SSDI? I'm just wondering if this is a good sign, bad sign, or just standard. Thanks in advance.
Yes, yes, standard is the short answer. So what you are going through for filling out the adult function forms for yourself, that's a standard part of the process. There's also typically um, forms in there about your work history. The form that they sent your mother, the third-party form, SSA 3380, that's not something that everybody receives. So you're early in the process, actually, because commonly those forms show up about 3 to 4 weeks after your application has hit the system, but there still is some, you know, out of the ordinary, longer than needed wait times. So if you're this new in the process, then watching your case status is likely, well, it's what you're doing, but you have a lot of time to focus on what is really going to move the needle and make your case stand out. And if you haven't done so already, some of those things are making sure those forms that you receive are filled out in line with what Social Security expectations are, because they don't give you any directions. I'm going to tell you how to do that in a moment. The second thing is evidence that will support your claim and your limitations. And the best way to do that is, well, two ways. One is make sure you're communicating your limitations to your doctors. Those are going into your medical records, ideally into your portal notes, so you can easily review those. And then written support from your doctor. So how do you learn about all this? If you're a member here at the Disability Digest, which there's no cost, you join us at the Disability Digest. You get in touch with one of the advocates. They're going to find out where you're at, which we have a general idea where you're at in the process, what other conditions you might have. And we're going to send you information and directions. And then you can go into our disability approval course. You'll see how to fill out those forms. Attorney James Mitchell Brown goes through each question step by step, tells you what to do. And then the next section in the course after that will help you understand what evidence to get from your doctors to put in your case file. So if you didn't do that, you're just going to be plain old vanilla case in the system with the other 1.9 million, and nothing is going to make you stand out.
Okay, and I'll add to that, if you join my Facebook group, we can also hook you up with the
Yeah,
Disability Digest to get that information.
right. So that question came from your group, so that could be somebody in your group.
Yeah.
Could they DM you?
Yes, please
Yeah.
do. I'm lonely. Please DM me.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say that. I'll be getting all kinds of DMs now.
Watch out. You might want to go back to singing.
Uh-huh. I'll sure enough run them off then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one says, I have a two-part question. I received this in the mail yesterday. It says they reviewed my evidence and found that the disability is continuing. I never turned in any new or updated medical records, so I am not sure why I got this. I am young, I just turned 40, and my SSDI was approved late December of 24. I originally filed in the early September of 24, so my approval was really fast. Also, in the letter, it says that July of 2024 was a trial work month. I am confused because I look back at my pay stubs and learned was less than the trial work month income limit. I looked at, y'all have to excuse me, I had to blow my screen up twice as big and it's confusing me. I looked back at pay stubs and learned it was less than the trial work income limit. I looked at last pay stubs and in July learned $770. I did cash out my PTO, but according to my research, I read that they don't count PTO as income towards a trial work month. If anyone can shed some light on this, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, so we have two parts here. One is it sounds like a disability review was completed. That would mean that you were sent a short or a long form. You filled it out and sent it in. They said your benefits are stable. That's good. I wouldn't, as Attorney Brown says, don't poke the bear. Let's leave that one alone.
Don't rock the boat, baby.
Don't rock the boat. Next one is your income. It's a little fuzzy. There's a bunch of moving parts here, but the amount of money that you can make and keep your benefits for 2026 is $1,210 a month. Anytime you go over that, you start using a trial work a month. So there's some confusion. There's different numbers that all float out there, but You can contact us here at the Disability Digest. If you don't have that regulation, we'll send it to you. But that is the facts. That's the law. That's not
I
mine.
think what she's conveying here is her last pay stub showed $770 that she earned, which is below.
Yep.
But then she cashed in her PTO and she thought they weren't gonna add that to it, and they did.
Yeah, I hear you there. And so my take is I would just reply with the regulation in writing, fill it
Yeah,
out, send it in. These are my pay stubs. This one's PTO. Um, and that should address it. I mean, um, I think about this in the larger scheme of other situations that they could chase and put resources on out there. It just doesn't sound like you'll be fine as based on what you told me.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next one here says, after my hearing in October of 25, my case was randomly pulled for an appeals council review. October of 25. I received a letter in the mail Saturday telling me that they decided to send my case back to the ALJ, and I am to wait to hear from them as to what they may need from me. Has anyone been through this? Approximately how long did it take to hear from them? What type of things may they request from me? Thanks for your response.
I want to make sure I get this one. Went to a hearing. Was the hearing decision favorable?
What's case? It didn't say. It says after my hearing in October, my case was randomly pulled
Okay.
for an appeals council review.
All right.
But they don't randomly pull. I mean, if she was denied at the hearing,
It could be. I'm not familiar with it. I know that the appeals council is sending a case back to the judge to have it heard again.
yeah,
And I know that piece from those that have been denied. That's why I asked if it was denied or favorable, but it doesn't sound like there's a decision in there.
yeah,
So one way that you can find out what the possible wait time is when you went to your first hearing in the top right-hand corner, there is the hearing office. So Orlando or Dallas North, whatever it is. And then you can find out online by searching Social Security Disability Hearing Office wait time. And you'll see what the backlog is. It could be 8 or 10 months. It's not that bad right now, actually. I mean, there's been times when it's been 24, 26 months since I've been doing this. So that's how you can figure out the time. As far as speculating on the other stuff, it's a hearing. You're going back to a hearing. That's all I can say is that they're going to validate your limitations, preventing you from working. So um, I don't, without knowing your case and the details, it's difficult to comment what they might be trying to dig into.
yeah. All right, this is the last one for the group. Says, so they denied SSI yesterday, which I expected. They denied SSI yesterday, which I expected. My SSDI was on step 4, still pending yesterday. But today it went to step 2. Is this a bad sign? Why all the way back to step 2 from step 4?
Don't know.
Hmm.
Don't know. I have not known them to regress. Yeah. I can understand if you have income resources, that's why SSI was
Was
denied.
denied, yeah.
Yeah. And for those of you considering applying out there, I would encourage you to do a little research if you're applying on your own. If you even have a shot at qualifying for SSI, because it can slow down your decision process. And especially if you get approved and you don't qualify for SSI, then it can slow down the distribution of your back pay. So just understand the issues about applying for both, because a lot of questions about speeding things up. Why does it take so long?
Yeah. When am I going to get my money?
When am I gonna get my money? Yeah.
All right, Nadine, I believe that's it for today
All
from the
right.
group.
Thank you so much, Philip. I just want to add to that, Brian, because there's one question that often comes up, like in the conversations that we would have on the phone about approval time. So some people um, heard from others that it can take months or even years, and they would ask, why does the process take so long? What factors usually affect how quickly a claim or an application for disability income moves forward?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The first one would be the workload in the office that's actually processing that. So for Social Security, the two states that have the longest delays in general
Mhm.
is Texas and Florida. And then within Texas and Florida, there's different offices, some better than others.
Mm.
So that's one of the things. Whereas like Alaska and Vermont are two of the fastest to process decisions. So if you're thinking, well, I live in Texas, I'm going to go apply in Vermont. Well, you have to apply where you're a resident. So that's one thing. Um, then there's other things. I want you to try to get your head around the Social Security examiner mindset for a moment. They are, I don't know how they're paid, but they're working in an office environment with a volume of work that they're expected to manage that is like vicious, right? Because there's 1.9 million people apply, and they've cut when Doge went through and got done with it, it's like 13,000 out of a 60,000 head count is down. I think they're doing a good job. I really do, compared to all the resources that they have. So you have people that are overworked and they've got to process these claims. So when I say do the right things and make it easy for them to make a decision, um, that's going to also help you out. Because if something comes across the desk that's nicely put together and they can clearly see the evidence and the case tells its story, that makes it easy for them. So one is you really can't control it. Two is you can definitely control how well you put together your application.
Thank you so much for that. Anyway, to those of you who are watching, once again, I have put on the link for those of you who would want to join us live, both in Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to ask your question and speak to us live, come on in. All right. Well, we wait for someone. We do have questions here from Facebook, Brian. First question is from A Jojo. He or she said, 9,200 to file for SSDI. Does SSDI really need name of two friends? Do they really contact them? Not all doctors put down in files what limitations you state. They write one or two, but not all. Frustrating.
So we have several questions within that statement. That's
Yeah.
basically, they're good. I was going to say the word rant. I guess I just did. No, it's a good one. So let's address the doctor's piece and then I'll go back to the money piece. So, first of all, you are right in that doctors are not taught, trained, used to, oftentimes, sometimes not willing to put the limitations in the medical records. That's where your beautiful work comes in, to help them
SSDI?
understand it.
Does SSDI really need?
Oh, I was getting some feedback. So, like, I was at the gym this morning, and I have a friend that I've made there that works out, that's a psychiatrist. And I was having this conversation with him because he was trying to help people. And he's been practicing for 19 years. And the whole concept of limitations was like foreign to him, which it is for most doctors. So you need, it's an education process that you need to overcome that. So how do you do that? You need to be polite, well organized, and persistent, which is you're bringing in each and every visit your limitations, and you're not taking up all your time. It's like 4 or 5 key limitations that you want to hit: sit, stand, bend, stoop, I'm not sleeping, and getting them in there. Now, what do you do if they don't? You're going to go through, ideally, and ask to have those put in your portal notes. So they're in the patient visit notes. So you can see them right away, because if they're not, and they're over in your medical records, oftentimes the portal doesn't have access to those. So you want to be specific where those comments go after you communicate them. Now, if they're not, you have a right as a patient to have the right information in your medical records. And that right information is supported by the Code of Federal Regulations. There's a 4-digit code, but if you can't find it on YouTube by typing CFR, then you can contact us at support and we'll get that to you. So let's say you look at your patient portal notes and they're like, he forgot to put in there, or she, that I'm having a hard time standing for 20 minutes, right? Just didn't do it. So you can politely remind them, say, listen, according to my right as a patient under Code of Federal Regulations, here it is, doc. I presented this information to you and it's not in the medical records. Please correct it and get a time frame. 24 hours, 48 hours, right after the visit. They don't do it then the next step is to submit it in writing. You have to be willing to push your doctor to get what you want. And if you're not willing to, and you just want to go and sit for your 12-minute visit, this isn't going to work for you, because they're going to need some education. So, and the Code of Federal Regulation is your patient right, and they don't want any problems. So that's how you communicate it, address it, and if it doesn't get fixed, do that. Next part was money, right? Can you read that exact snippet to me again?
Yeah, it was like just 9,200 to file for SSDI.
Yeah. Okay. It doesn't cost that. So here's where there's some confusion with the fee. $9,200 is a lot of money. And I am, in my efforts here, a proponent of having you pay zero or less. Here's where the problem is. Well, first of all, when you apply for disability, you can do it on your own. You can do it on your own without any of our membership support. You can do whatever you want to do. That's what most people do out there. And they have a challenge. And then they get denied. And they're like, oh my God, I got denied. What do I do? So they go get a representative. Well, that case likely is going to go to a hearing. Because if you get denied at your initial application, there's a reconsideration appeal in all except 10 states, but it's like very low, like 11.7%. So if you don't get approved at initial, it's not likely you're going to get approved at reconsideration. That means your case is going to go to a hearing. And I've known like 6 people in my time of doing this that have gone to court on their own. So you go with a representative, they win your case, you're going to pay $9,200. Now, if you win earlier, there's not as the back benefits are going to be less. If you do it on your own and win earlier, you aren't going to pay any back benefits. So here's another example. You come in, you're out of work for, let's say you're out of work for 7 months, right? You apply for disability benefits and you get approved in another, let's say 5, 6, 8 months. So you're at 15 months that you've been out of work. Okay. So out of that 15 months, there's a 5-month elimination period. There's no back pay. So there's 10 months where there's back pay. So if you did it on your own, you keep all that 10 months. But if you use a representative and it's 10 months and checks around $1,500, that's 15,000, then you pay 25% of that 15,000 to get your benefits early. That's better than $9,200. So that's where people get confused. They try to save the money up front and do nothing, and they get hammered on the back end, and they have to wait. All right. Did I address all
Right.
the questions?
And he was also asking about where was that? Yeah, if they really need two names of their friends, and would SSA really contact them?
Yeah. Well, that's their regulation, and actually, I can relate to it because, and it may not be applicable for you, but many that go through this process have conditions that could put them into a flare for a few days. Or like I've known people that go into like fibromyalgia flares for like 5, 6 days. If you're working through the process of doing this and you're out for 5 days, and then when you come out of that flare, you're like just cognitively not there. That's why I went through this whole thing in the beginning. You need to really consider getting somebody on your team and a backup contact if you want your benefits. Yeah. Right. Let's say that happens and there's, you're in a denial period, meaning that you got denied for Social Security, or they send you forms that require a 10-day turnaround and you're in a flare.
All right, that covers all of a JoJo's question. Now we have a question from Patty. This is our viewer from Vermont, by the way. She said, I'm turning 62 in September. I don't know if I should take the easy way out and just retire then, or go for my disability. I was diagnosed with inclusion body myositis in 2020 and have been declining ever since, and
Mm-hmm.
have been doctoring since 2023. I feel very confident with my doctors, just scared not to have any income during the waiting process of disability. And can I collect Social Security if I go for my disability?
All right, Patty, buckle up. Here we go. Uh, Here's a situation. If you take your early Social Security, I'm going to just use some rough math. Let's say that that's $1,500 a month. Then it's likely that if you chose your Social Security disability, that it's going to be $2,000 a month. So from a financial perspective, pursuing your disability benefits, um, if you get approved, then you're going to get more money. If you take your age 62 right now and you choose not to pursue disability, you're locked into losing about $500 a month, $6,000 a year for the rest of your life. Let me repeat that. You're going to be losing $500 a month, $6,000 a year for the rest of your life. Here's why. Because you lock in at that age 62 amount and you own that, right? So here's something for you to consider. First of all, come meet with one of these fine folks and they'll really dial in the strategy, but um, is to get evaluated and really get a handle on, can you get approved for disability, right? And then if yes, pursue your disability and you can take your 62 amount. The downside is this: if you don't get approved for disability, then you're stuck again with that age 62, which you were going to do that anyway. But if you get approved for disability, when you get approved, your check amount will change from the 1,500 to the
Mhm.
2,000, right? Plus, you get Medicare benefits 24 months after you were proven that you were not able to work because of your conditions or disability. So those are the benefits. It's, you know, you live another 20 years, $6,000. I mean, it's hopefully you live longer than that. It's a lot of money.
Sure is. All right, Patty, I hope that answers your question. Now we have a follow-up question here from A Jojo. Um, the question goes, does it matter if I file for SSDI while going through a WC case? I think it means workers' compensation. I
Yep.
had to undergo two major surgeries due to injury, which prevents me from working. Had to have a total knee replacement, and a year and a half later, torn quadrice. I don't know if this is spelled correctly, but it's another surgery. Going to fourth IME next week. I keep asking surgeon for past 4 years to put limitations into file, but usually does not put in. Now what? Please advise. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And some additional information that he provided. He said, I'm 62 and a half. Injury happened in early 2022.
All right. Well, they're two different benefit packages. Unfortunately, you got hurt in the line of work. That's where the workers' comp is. And then the Social Security standard is totally different, which means that you're not able to do any job in the U.S. economy. And if you're at your age and you had a stable career and a with a job or in a certain industry, then there's could be some leverage on proving that you can't do your job. But they're two different benefits. And if you can't work and you feel you qualify, it's going to go back to the Patty situation where I definitely would encourage you to, uh, you know, get evaluated and go through and understand the feasibility. For the same, you're 6 months difference than Patty's age. So for the same reasons that I just indicated. But you have an additional factor that needs to be considered, which is your workers' compensation case. So with your workers' compensation case, there is an offset between the money that you receive for workers' comp and your Social Security disability benefits. So let's say that you get awarded $100,000 for the bodily injury that you had um, for your workers' compensation. Well, if you receive that without doing anything, then that is going to offset your Social Security amount. So let's say you had $30,000 in Social Security back pay. It would wipe that out, and then it could impact the amount that you receive going forward, unless you do this. The do this is there is a Hartman regulation. It's an actual rule, law, that when you get your work comp settlement, that it's written in to the award letter that that is amortized over your lifetime. So if you're 62 and a half, your actuary table is, let's, I hope you live to 100, but I don't know what it is. I'm going to say, let's say it's 80. So, I mean, you could live from 62 and a half to 80, and that each year, that $100,000 would be amortized over the rest of your lifetime. So it's not one big hit. You would have $2,000 or $4,000, for example, if that's what it breaks down to, that would be the offset out of your Social Security disability benefits. It's a huge difference. It's that one little thing. So you can research on our YouTube channel. I would start with the keyword Hartman. If you're a member here at the Disability Digest, one of the advocates can get it for you. Contact our support desk. But it's really important that you communicate that to whoever is working on your work comp before the settlement takes place so they can write it into the letter because you're not able to, as far as I know, go back once that's settled.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. That's very informative. Like, not everyone knows about the Hartman formula. So it's a
Yeah.
good information to know. All right. Now we also have a question here from YouTube from Sylvester. He said, "Hi, on the adult function report, should I include good days or only bad days? I'm in chronic opioid therapy for chronic pain, and I get a few hours of relief on the day that I take the narcotic."
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I would not focus on your good days. That's not what this is about. And I'm reflecting back on Attorney James Mitchell Brown, who went through this. So, if it's the question about do you pay your bills, and most of your days are bad days, then most of your days you're not going to be paying your bills. Or most of your days you're not going to be cleaning, you're not going to be shopping. So that's the direction to go in answering those questions. I would, in our disability approval course, the what's really going to help you is how to fill out those forms. They're in section 1 of the disability approval course, where you just take the forms, put them out on your kitchen counter. You watch the interview that I did. The one that's in there now is with attorney Carl Osterhow, and he goes through question by question by question. And it's the snowflake situation where everybody's condition is different, but the principles and the guiding direction that he gives is a game changer, and it will save you a lot of angst to figure it out. So come in and get that. Take advantage of it.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Brian. And in connection to what you just mentioned, having you guys join us as a member here, there is one question that we fairly often hear from people who is about, asking about how the Disability Digest works as an organization since membership is free. So they're asking, how does the organization actually make money? We often get that question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Um, so the Disability Digest, I liken it to like a radio or TV station. We have services that we provide in the area of insurance. So Social Security insurance, Medicare insurance, these are optional services that are independent of the membership that people take advantage of. So we help people get approved. Once they're approved, we evaluate what their health care is, their medications, their treatment options, and we suggest coverage for them. And we get paid from insurance companies, we get paid from Social Security to do that work. We also, on our videos here, we're in the partnership program with Google YouTube. So those are the 3 areas that monetize that. So what that means is everything else, there's, no charge. Those are optional services. But when you come in here, you speak with one of these wonderful advocates, you get access to our 24/7 support services, email support, the courses. Each one of these courses is put together with industry experts. All of that, membership, no charge. My position when I started doing this is I don't believe that people should have to pay to get like through the process. And that's why, like in 2007, I met Jonathan Ginsburg and we started putting together the disability approval course. It just here it is. Um, and there are people that are not able to do it on their own. There's people that try to do it on their own and they don't do it right, and they come to us and we'll help them as a representative if it's a fit. But it's not a one size fits all. So that's how the model works here um, at the Disability Digest. Good question.
All right, and maybe just one more question that comes up quite a bit. What makes the Disability Digest different from just trying to navigate the disability process alone?
Yeah, I would say the answer's short is if you come in and you're looking at the disability approval course, I'll use that as an example. You're getting expert advice on how to file your application step by step, which I don't know if anything like that exists out there. Then when you get the forms, you have a different expert that is going through and showing you how to fill out the forms. Then for evidence, there's an expert interview. So all the way through the process, and I'm stuck in the approval part, but once somebody is approved, we have courses to help you understand how to find your purpose, how to supplement your income and keep your benefits. We have a disability benefit protection program, 10 segments of that course, all put together with attorney James Mitchell Brown. This is all things that are different. So the Disability Digest and its like at its core was put together because a lot of the information doesn't exist, and the information that does exist still to this day is like scattered around, and it's difficult for people to find, and things and their needs change. So that's the real difference here, that we attempt to communicate to you to understand and provide. So when I have to thank those, like there's been countless hours of interviews that are in this content. I mean, at one time I stopped counting at around 1,200 interviews that I personally have done with people to, get answers for you. So that's our difference. Is it the
All
only
right.
solution out there? As far as I know, is it the best one? I'll let you be the judge. We try.
Yeah. Thank you so much for answering that, Ryan. Now, I know we're almost running out of time, but we have a buzzer beater question here from Facebook. I hope we can still take this one. It's from Terry Velasco. I have a tear in the meniscus, and my question is, can I apply for disability? I'm 61, almost 62 in June.
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's not a diagnosis or an injury, specific injury that is going to determine that. It's your limitations, like how the meniscus knee, right? Um, so if you, let's say this, how old, Nadine?
61, almost 62.
Okay, here's a way to look at it. Let's say that you worked um, in at Home Depot, and for the last 5 or more years, and your job was on the floor 6 out of 8 hours a day, and now you tore your meniscus doing God knows what. Hopefully it was fun. And now you're not able to stand. And if you got corrective surgery, would you be able to stand? Would you be able to do your job? And if you got corrective surgery, how long would you be out for? So what you are looking at is not the meniscus and the tear, it's the limitations, and do they prevent you from working? And if so, will it be longer than 12 months? Now, if you had a sit-down job, then well, I don't see it.
Yeah. All right, those are all the questions that I have for you today, Brian.
All right. Wonderful. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining today. Great group out there. We are going to be back in 2 weeks with a truly special event. Attorney James Mitchell Brown has been doing work in this industry for, I keep getting the number like a little fuzzy, but I want to say 52 years. So I have gotten him to agree to an interview topic that he has never done before, about his experience in the industry, what he's learned, what he can share with everybody, that would help you moving forward. Historically, his work here has been topic specific, like forms and treatments and CDRs. So this will be something. So mark your calendars. 2 weeks from today, he will be back. And we're blessed. We have two other new speakers that will be joining us on our YouTube Live series for the year. So we look forward to that. And of course, we appreciate you. It's the reason why we do this. This is intended for you as a resource, and hopefully you find value in it. If you do, we'd appreciate it if you give us a comment, subscribe. If you're looking for a caregiver or somebody to help you out and support you through the system, send this out to them. Say, listen to this guy. I need some help. Come help me. Okay. Philip, Nadine, as always, appreciate you.
Okay.
Yeah, make it a great day. Nadine, I'll catch up with you in about 2 minutes. God bless everybody.